Oh, you ain't gonna do it for the gram.
Otis.
Now I look like a rapper.
You look like every college kid.
Gave up. Got some gray hairs and gave up. How do I look? My hands. I don't know what to do with my hands.
Just hold them right in front of your face.
Ricky Bobby.
So I would say now that we're older, this is fucking epic.
Yeah,
right, because you can look back.
Oh, you
I'm
got
just
two
saying,
cameras.
like,
Some bitch, boy, you millennials.
you millennials should have seen what a postcard was.
Should have seen my first camera.
You ever seen 150 postcards spread out like a fucking deck of casino cards? Whew.
You ever seen
You design
thousands of business cards that thrown out all over the streets of Miami?
Yeah, so like if there's no such thing as environmental
That was back when
type stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, here's where Tindel Michi went wrong. 100%. We got 5,000. It was a fucking lot. It was
a lot.
It was
I still got
5,000 cars, Miami Flyers, overnight. They fly it in from Miami to DeKalb, Peachtree. I picked it up at the airport.
Yeah.
5,000 flyers, and I got I got your fucking number wrong.
No.
Remember? No, I got not the ones with the
green ones?
No,
The
not
monster
those. I'm
truck
talking
ones?
the original ones that were like the chicken and it
Oh,
said
the
Two
brown-
Fat Southern Boys.
The brown and yellow ones.
Yeah, and it said like it had your number, and I fucking got the number wrong. Like 5,000 cards. I feel like that might have because. Was it the green ones when we were in Miami?
I think it's the green ones.
Fucking original ones. I thought that was when.
It's the green ones.
Yeah, so
'Cause
we
I
invented
still-
this marketing before environmentalism, and we called it trash
We
marketing
call it trash marketing.
because we knew that it was for Art Basel.
Art Basel.
Yeah, it was for Art Basel, and we knew that they're gonna have people picking up the trash anyways. So we were like, we had 5,000 cards with the wrong phone number on them. I'm almost positive.
I think it's the right phone number.
Purposefully throwing them away, though.
No, like we rented scooters and we'd go down the road and just toss them.
out.
And by the end of the weekend or whatever, you'd like, someone would go, oh, Michi's over there, because there'd be like a pile of fucking cards. Because we had 5,000 cards.
But they were like John Deere green
Yeah.
and yellow.
They had monster trucks and diamonds.
Monster trucks and diamonds.
Yeah, and it said Two Fat Southern Boys that paint.
But my thinking too is like, okay, if like this is recognizable enough, if people see it enough, somebody's gonna stop and pick it up.
Plus, we were still giddy. I was still giddy that when they read it, they fucking laughed.
It said Two Fat Southern Boys that paint, and people was cracked up.
And we had people saying that's not proper English. You use Two Fat Southern Boys. Who
Who?
paid?
Who?
And I was like,
That was their problem with it.
and until then, I didn't know I was wrong. Was the first thing, and then I was like, no, we can't, because now I thought that's what you say.
Well,
Hey,
that's
come
what
here,
they
get
say.
my lap. Yeah, so no. Yeah, and yeah, I mean, that was my old house. That was the trip. I was going to leave, I was late. And because I got like an OCD, fucking ADD, whatever thing going, I ran down under my deck where there's all that shit all the time. For some reason, I saw a fucking fly tape.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I was like, it was right before leaving the plane. I was like, I'm gonna fucking. So I pulled it out and I just stuck the fly tape up for no reason. And then fucking 2 seconds later, a fucking full like robin goes out and hits the whole tape and gets this whole fucking wing stuck on it. And I was like, I gotta fucking go to New York or wherever we were. And then I just fucking was like, there's a billion cats in this neighborhood. I was like, they'll end this quick. So I had to throw that fucking bird. It's horrible.
A horrible story.
It's a horrible story, but you know, like, you can't be late for a plane. Was that a good one?
That's an awful awful. Did you just fucking let that bird
Will you?
die?
No, I went to pull off his wings, and it was so fucking stuck that it would break his bones. So I was like, if I pull off his wings, I'm gonna break all his bones off.
Well,
So I was
at
like, let a
least
cat
he
do it. They're
coulda
good
hopped
at
off.
it.
He coulda
Cats be
hopped-
like,
That's just your true nature.
He could have hopped off, John.
I don't know how that got to that from
Have you ever
New
killed
York.
any birds?
Oh, I got a chicken killing story that would.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fucking
kill
great.
birds.
But birds are kind of like lizards still, so it's not like emotionally traumatizing like a mammal.
Still a living thing. Though.
Oh no, it's horrible, and I hate the feel of that. But like, I've had to kill a chicken to eat and stuff, and it's like it sucks. But like, I couldn't imagine killing like a mammal. What are we talking?
This guy just going. So now you understand.
I get it.
I'm gonna tell you, like, so my job, I think, with Tindel Michi was to just listen.
Yes.
Like, let John, like, go to outer space, get his,
Take flight.
yeah, let him, well,
But
it's,
see,
it's legal nowadays. So back then it wasn't. So, let John get all boomed up and then just paint and listen. And whenever John would say something stupid, I'd just write it on a painting or write it on my
brilliantly
wall.
stupid.
Like, I would
Like
just,
Young Dro lyrics.
I would just, like, just write it on a painting, write it on the wall. Like, most of that stuff on those early Tindel Michi paintings is John rambling. It's just, like, the whole, 350 pounds of chicken.
Yeah,
That was a ramble. We just wrote it down. Man,
yeah,
we can
because
do
I
an
was like,
art
what do we
show
have a fucking art show
with no
We have
wine and no
wine and
cheese.
Yeah, it
and all
was,
this stuff, and he was going off and like we should just get like 350 pounds of chicken and 200 pounds of cornbread and like all the PBR you can drink. And I just wrote it on my studio wall, and it's like, okay, yeah, we should do that. And we call our friend Brady Lowe. It's like, Brady, we got this idea. We're gonna do this show. It's called Redneck Graffiti, and we're gonna redo the old street signs like you see in the country, like free dirt and like
oh, I forgot there was that
boiled peanuts, which I still have. And,
Yeah, I was gonna redo something like that. So yeah.
So we were gonna redo all those signs, call it Redneck Graffiti, but it was like a thing, like no wine, no cheese. That was the big thing, like the big FU to art world. Or
I
whatever.
was so like where I was coming from and where we started from. Atlanta seemed like it had not much of anything going on. There might have been something, but it was at the early time. Every fucking gallery you walked in was paintings from New York, so it seemed like we're just a city that feels big
like
because we got paintings from New York.
It was a big town.
Yeah, and no one, like, ooh, because I'd be like, I'm gonna say I'm from New York. That's all you got to do in Atlanta is say you're from New York, and you fucking got an art career. That's what it felt like. So I feel like that was a little bit of the start of like I was so.
He was
like,
anti.
Yeah, I was
He was
so like.
Anti New York.
And just anti.
I'm a little contrarian, I think is what I figured out. And my statement
that.
would be, I'm not a contrarian.
Yeah.
Which is
yeah,
perfect.
That.
Yeah, I am not a contrarian.
Yeah. So from that, contrarianisms, that's how we ended up with that show, with like all the 300 pounds of fried chicken and cornbread.
No, and it was
And
weird.
it
I
was
don't even
just
know how.
Purely from a ramble. Just
off the dome.
Just this guy rambling. Like
But
that was the beauty of it. It's like you
But
just
then
listen
to
music
see, like-
and John would just ramble and you get great stuff to put on a painting. People, well, you don't come
But
up with this stuff.
Michi,
It's just like,
I have had some people say that show, like people said they thought they had a style, and then they saw that show and they went back and fucking painted for months. Like it
yeah.
inspired them to paint for months and months and months.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, because we had that corner painting. You know,
yeah.
we were doing everything we could think of to like, we're cool like New York. Look, we're doing a corner, but it was
Like, that was
cooler.
like a LA
But it was
style.
cooler. It was 2 big pieces. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like because at that time it was like all the California dudes doing all the little clumps of stuff, and
Yeah.
you know, so it was like I felt like we were underdogs, which is the funnest fucking place to be.
Yep.
And there was LA and New York, and we
Man.
pretended like we were flying right along with them.
We were.
Yeah, but that's the weird thing of Atlanta.
I think we were outpacing them dudes. They just had like a good PBR, good PR. That's all.
No, that's what I've always been. I'm anti everything until Atlanta has the same push of things. Like
Yeah.
like a PR firm that just likes an artist and pushes an artist because he's badass. Like Karen West and them, I remember hearing my name on the radio back in a long time ago because they're like, oh, my favorite artist. She was doing a radio spot. I was like, there needs to be more other genres shouting out art. It doesn't happen like it music in Atlanta. Remember, we were always like, music, we'll just follow what they're doing.
Yeah, we'll just
except
do what music does.
music got everything, and art in a
Yeah.
video won't even get your name on the credits. You know what I'm saying? Like, but the caterer will get his name on. Well, here's what we're thinking. Like the little, like I was sending you those little bitty clippy things,
Yeah.
and they're almost like funny and teaser as fuck about like what is this conversation gonna be? Little teasers. Try to put them out everywhere, little 5-second, 10-second things, and then go to like YouTube or somewhere for like a long form edited
Yeah, the full story.
shit. Yeah, where like he edits it, where like that
You ever
was a
watch those
fucking
Van
killer.
Wiki things? I'll send it to you.
Please.
What is it?
It's a funny story. It's with the used car salesman.
Oh, I'm gonna watch it like tonight.
Dude,
I'm
it's
going to
funny
bed
as
to
hell.
that.
How do you get here? Tell it to John.
How did you get? He get to Atlanta?
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Don't
tragic.
you tell it.
It's
Wow.
tragic.
Well, okay, I'll tell a story. Like, so I'm in Florence, Alabama, and I'm like working at Old Navy. I just got fired from a movie theater that I worked at for 7 years. Old Navy had opened, so I had like two, 3 jobs. So I was working. I just graduated from college, and then I was working at Old Navy, and I was they train you to do all this stuff. Like I don't mind working at Old Navy like in the summer, cause all the girls come in and like all the girls come in and it was like. So that was something I noticed, and you could help people and be like, I don't know, it's gonna bunch up real, you'd be real informed, but you'd be on your boy thing. But anyway, so I was doing that, and then this lady came up to the thing. I was working the cash register this day, and the lady came up, and in my head, I don't know what it was about that lady, and that moment, I was like,
What, like a mom, like a
mom,
like a mom?
buying it, lady
Yeah.
shopping. It's a
Okay.
weekend. And she put all her clothes up. I just looked at her and I was like, I have a college degree. She goes, yeah, and you gonna ring me up? And I was like, no. I mean, hey, they have the thing on.
Wait, did you just say it? Just say it?
Yeah, because I was thinking it like, man, I don't want to be here. I don't like.
So you were riling up.
I was already in my head
contemplating it. Yeah.
Yeah, and because I was already working there, and people thought my name was Catfish.
Huh?
Like on the schedule, it said Catfish Junior Jones.
Is that something that you?
Catfish Junior Jones.
Yeah.
That's what.
So
I
that's
call
where
my-
the character comes from, Cass.
Yeah,
That's
I
where
know.
So
And
Catfish.
Cass got his own story too. Like it's got.
it starts. That's where it starts because Cass was like, Michi was a catfish at Old Navy. Because there was a blues song. Sometimes I wish I was an old catfish swimming in a deep, deep hole, and you'd have all the pretty women fishing after him. That's a blues song, right? So muddy water. So I was catfish, and there was people in that store didn't even know my real name. They didn't know my nothing. They knew nothing about me except for I was catfish.
I didn't know your fucking real name
Nobody
for a
still-
little bit because when I had to type your name on something, it was your last name. I said Demetrius Culpepper. Is that?
See, anyways, you'll just edit that out. So I was catfish. And when I told the lady I had a degree, and she was just like, so, and I was like, well, I'm sitting here ringing you up, and I got a college degree. She was like,
Right.
well, you going to ring me up? And I was like, no.
Ooh.
I hit the little button, and I was like, hey, catfish quits. And on the thing back, the manager's name was Lee. He goes, catfish can't quit. And I go, catfish just did. I was like, catfish is leaving. And they were like, well, where are you going, catfish? And I was like, I'm going to Atlanta. So I was like, all right, I'm going to Atlanta. I'll just walk out, right? So now I got to figure out how to get some money to go to Atlanta. I just quit my job. Savings ain't,
Where were you in life? Where were
I just
you?
just done with college, just done with college.
Just done with college,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
And I'm sitting here ringing people up. I was like, man, you get a college degree, you're supposed to get a good job and do the whole thing.
Like some,
You know?
money's been exchanged. Where's my?
Yeah. Where's my good job?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go to the city.
Yeah. That's
So in order
Go
to
to
get
the
the
city.
money, this is the story. So to get the money to go to Atlanta, I shot probably the meanest game of pool I ever shot. So I had a friend, like we were depressed. We were stuck in Florence, just out of college, working at Old Navy, right? So what we would do, we would go hustle pool. And he had the gift of gab, had a good shot. I could be a good wingman, had some gift of gab, could tell a good story, keep people occupied, and we'd hustle pool for beers or, money or whatever. And it was just a way to keep us excited. So we carried pool cues, and I had this beautiful pool cue. It was blue and had this like hand done thing, and it was a 21. It was beautiful, it was badass. But my friend who owned a tattoo shop, Fred, he had pool tables, and I was over there shooting pool one day with my cousin Montreal and my best friend Big Smooth.
right.
And these guys walk in, and in my town they were notorious gangsters, and they wanted to shoot pool, but they wanted to gamble. And somewhere in my head I was like, don't do this, don't do this. I'm gonna get killed. Here's a kicker. The dad had just got out of prison, and the son had got out of prison probably 2-3 months before.
Were they both there?
Both.
Oh.
So
Fuck.
we're there.
Running.
I'm looking at my cousin. My cousin's like, what are you doing? You gonna get us killed. You gonna get us shot.
Yeah, you don't win or lose on
you
that.
can't be messing with these people. They're gonna kill us. And Smooth was there. He was like, Smooth always had a gun. So the guy wanted to shoot pool, $20 a game. Okay, sure. Boom. Take his $20. He goes, no, let's bet back. I said, okay. We
What's bet back?
We bet the 20 back.
Okay.
And if he loses, he put up another 20. If he loses,
Right.
I got
Double.
40 now, right?
Yeah.
So we do that a few times. And my cousin, he came and was like, what are you doing? You gonna get us killed. So he kept betting back. So when the pot got big, a couple more games, I'm at $400.
That's a fucking shitload back then.
Yeah, that's a
That's
ride
it.
to Atlanta.
Anytime
I'm at
below
400
2,000, that's a shitload of money for anyone.
And I'm like, man. And my cousin's like, God, he gonna get us killed. So I look at my friend Big Smooth. I said, Smooth, so you got your pistol? He's like, yeah. I said, go in the car, start it, and warm it up, and keep the door open.
Yeah, fucking.
I look at my cousin. My cousin's like, what are you doing? You're not finna do this. And I'm like, I'm fixing to do this. So it's like, the Lord wants me to have this money.
I'm thinking my running out of the crab. My running out of the crab dinner is nothing.
I'm like, the Lord wants me to have this money.
Christ is involved now.
yeah,
Okay, so you gotta.
I got prayer going. This is
gonna shine.
I don't know how else I'm gonna get a chunk of money that fast. Like, cause I'm leaving.
400 is a fucking shitload.
At that time it was. It's like, I don't know how I'm gonna get it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna work at Old Navy and wait 6 months or whatever to get $400.
Right.
So I look at the guy behind the register.
Because you're
this guy,
going to
Fred.
Atlanta, right?
Yeah, I'm going to Atlanta.
You've already fucked,
This is, I'm getting the money. And Fred, I look at Fred. I was like, Fred, you got a pistol? He was like, yeah. He was like, I got you.
Oh, that's a bad situation, though.
And my cousin, I told my cousin, I said, go stand by the door. He goes stand by the door. It's 8-ball. There's $400 on the end of the table. Mind you, I don't really have any money.
I forgot about that.
The money I have.
I forgot about that.
The money I have
It's his.
Is just up here, and it's his.
Yeah.
It's all his. But he lost. And when that 8-ball, and when he shot that last shot, I was like, please, Lord, let him sink the shot. But he missed it, and it lined up perfect. And that's when I lined everybody up. Like, if this goes right, I'm taking this money. The Lord wants me to have this money. And I looked at my cue. It was beautiful and blue.
Oh,
and I was like, oh God. And I was just like, okay, whatever. I heard Smooth's Jeep crank up. Boom! The music.
you heard it? You heard it?
Yeah, because he had
Dude, this is fucking Martin Scorsese
he had
right
a
now,
lifted,
dude.
He had a lifted Jeep Wagoneer, like big 32-inch, like throwing birds on it. Like,
30 fucking, okay.
yeah. Smooth was, dude, we're from Alabama. Big,
Texas, dude.
yeah, big 15-inch woofers in the back. You hear, boom.
Oh, fuck.
I'm looking at my cousin. I'm looking at Fred. I'm looking at these two gangsters, and they looking salty.
Like, this is going a little bit
No,
too
like,
far.
we getting ready to kill you.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to
You better miss. That kind of shit. Like, so
the whole pot,
you know
the
how,
whole pot's on it though. If you miss, all that buildup is gonna flip back on you. Owe these motherfuckers.
No,
money.
they're going to take the pot.
Okay.
Because it's my money. We're betting it back. Right?
Oh, fuck.
But I don't really have any money.
Right.
And so, you know how sometimes when you shoot pool on 8-ball, it just lines up perfect? Like,
Yeah, it looks like.
like all I got to do is tap it and it'll go in. Like, that's the kind of shot it was. I got down, boom, I was like, I could miss this and save my life. And I was like, but the Lord wants me to have this money. I'm going to Atlanta. I shot it, and ball slow rolling. I'm breaking my stick down, walking fast as I can to that money. I grab that money. My cousin opens the door. I'm breaking my cue down. We hop in that shit, and boom, out of there.
In scene, the fucking ball hits the hole.
Hole. And all you can hear is these gangsters starting up, and we're fucking hauling out. We get in the car, and we're like, I can't believe you did that shit. I can't believe this. I'm like, oh, fuck. And I was like, oh, man, we gotta lay low for about 2 weeks. We gotta lay low for about 2 weeks. Oh, Lord. My cousin's like, man, you could have got us shot. You could have got us killed. What you know who that is, and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, whatever. So it was real, and that's how I got the money to come to Atlanta. And then when I got to Atlanta, I was like, oh, man, what am I going to do? So I'm painting in my brother's garage. And this girl from back home who I was dating, she lived here. And she was like, hey, I went to this place called Tutu Tango. You should come to there. You know, like they, give artists jobs and stuff. So that's how I got there. And then I got there, and I was sitting at this table. And there's this little painting on there. It's that one you made a poster of. It was like a guy.
It was all like
It's one of your first posters. One of your first posters.
Was it trippy looking?
Yeah. And I was sitting next to this painting. I was like, man, look at this dude. This stuff look like kind of like my stuff. And she was like, yeah, that's why I told you to come get it, because I saw this stuff and this guy, like, you should get a job here. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm going to be the good boyfriend, get a job at Tutu Tango, and do the thing. So I go the next day, do the thing. They give me the job. So I keep seeing these paintings show up, like, just all over the thing. Like, God, this guy's painting. He's painting good. So I'm, like, trying to paint paintings to, like, send him a message, like, I can paint too, motherfucker. Like, and I'm painting and painting. I just see the name. It just says John Tindel. All right. Some brother over there painting John Tindel. Like, okay, I'll meet him. But so at Tutu Tango, they did those like painter meetings or whatever,
like where you had to go and like
Yeah.
schedule like Jeff Kearns and
Yeah, all them people.
Oh,
But they
yeah.
did that one meeting, I remember it. And I was like, man, I'm going to go meet this guy, John Tindel, and see who he is. And I remember you walked up and it was, hey, John. And it was like, John. And I was like, John? And then I met John. I was like, dude, I thought you was a black guy. And then John was like, yeah, everybody thinks I'm a black guy.
photographer at Apache Cafe, Kevin Stewart.
Stewart, yeah.
Yeah, I argued with him one night. I go, hey, I'm John Tindel. What he goes, John Tindel. He goes, I know a John Tindel. Or something. I go, oh, okay. He goes, come here, I want to show you his work. And Karen had like that little book,
Yeah.
or whatever. And he goes, and he flips it to my stuff, and he goes, and I'm like, yeah, that's me. And he goes, no, that's John Tindel. He goes, and he flips it again. I'm like, no, that's fucking me. And he's like, no, you're a black dude. I'm like, no, I'm me.
Yeah, I was like, everybody thought John was a black dude. Like I thought John was a black dude. So that's what makes that painting when you see it like Black City White Boy. Like that's what makes that kind of funny. But then too is like, oh, John lives in Atlanta.
Like that's the energy you bring into the city. Like,
Well, my thing was like, I told my dad, I said, Dad, I'm gonna go to Atlanta, and I want to go see what I'm made of. He was like, okay, I can agree with that. And I was like, when I get old, I don't want to have any regrets. Like, I want to know that I at least tried. And so I went to Atlanta with that attitude. And my whole thing was like, I don't want to work at a freaking bowling alley. I don't want to do tattoos down by the river on trailer park girls and do Goldberg tattoos and Tupac crosses. For the rest of my life.
was that an option?
I was an apprentice at a tattoo shop down by the river, and I drew so many Goldberg and Tupac.
Goldberg, like tribal?
The barbed wires, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother story. But I didn't want that life. I didn't want to work at a factory. And then MTV Real World was out. I was like, I want to do whatever they're doing. Like that's what I wanted. Like, that girl,
What do you mean?
That girl Julie from Birmingham, she went to New York. I was like, well, shit. At least I.
Oh,
can
you're
get to
saying
Atlanta.
like I want to get the fuck out because I see you get the fuck out.
Yeah, you can do it.
Yeah.
And so that was my whole plan. And when I got to Atlanta, I was determined not to go back to Alabama. Like whatever it took. Like I'm not going back.
Yeah, see, mine was less. Mine was more like I'm just not going back. Like
Yeah, I don't have a plan B.
There was no struggle of what was back there, but it was like I'm just.
Well,
I thought you didn't go back once you're 18. That just was drilled in my head.
Well,
so
if
like,
you went back to Florida, what would you be doing? Like
nothing,
at that time?
Nothing. I would have to find like the same shit factory or like renting jet skis doing meth.
Wave runner rental.
Wave runner rentals doing meth.
Yeah, and you'd be that local guy at the bar playing Jimmy Buffett on your guitar.
Yeah, no.
You don't want that. Yeah, my thing was I'm not going back. I'm done.
Well, you had fucking like, you told me like you had like fucking friends end up dead or show up in the newspaper.
Oh yeah, like right after I left.
Yeah, like a sign of that pool
Like
cue
that
was
was
God and this was God. Yeah.
Yeah, the Lord wanted me to have that money. Like I'm serious. Like a lot of the dudes I went to school with, like right after I left, my dad called, and because I came here, my brother had already lived here, so I just lived in his bedroom, one of his back rooms. He had a big house, and my dad called and was like, "Hey, have you seen the newspaper?" I was like, "No, I haven't seen the newspaper." He was like, "Well, get on the computer and look at the front page." And I was like, "All right, I'll get on it."
Your dad told you to look?
Yeah, he was
Your
like,
dad did?
He's like, "I think it's a good thing you moved and this and that." So I go, I look. There's a lot of dudes I went to school with had all just got popped and they were on their way to prison. Like these are dudes I hung out with, played sports with, and all that stuff. But I was just like, okay, yeah, I hustled pool for some dudes, but the Lord wanted me to have that money.
Dude, I like it. No, I told them on my little story, I said, we can sit here and tell the fucking greatest stories.
Yeah.
We were getting articles written about us. We were getting other people's articles with us in it saying their shows weren't as good as our shows. Like, we were getting everything you could ever want. We've done 100 times in Atlanta.
100 times.
We wanted all that, and I fucking said, guess how much money Tindel Michi made? We made $0, not a fucking single dollar. Like,
We made some good money.
well, kind of,
But it went away fast.
I feel like it was a little ahead of its time in a sense. It was he was talking about, like, what if you could put a camera on a canvas and film two people painting while the camera's filming as you're there, and I was like, that was fucking Tindel Michi, period. It was
we did that.
It was a dialogue. It was a dialogue on canvas. With modern technology, we could have had that shit.
We always
recorded.
talk about, man, we need to get some GoPros and rig up the studio and like, because John would say some dumb shit like, but it'd be brilliant and like, oh, I didn't write that one down, or it'd be like, whoa, what did you say the other day? And you try to remember it, But if we would have, I think I got some
What?
recorded.
I've got
think I got
somewhere
some.
when we were on that redneck nudist biker white supremacist colony swingers, did I say that? Resort. First of all, we drove past 100 times. We drove past this little entrance.
Yeah, I don't
And we did it for like, yet again, $200. $200 was the number you could get an artist to do God anything.
You do a lot to try to become an artist when you don't have a lot of connections.
I think the New York shit was on the Derek trip, I feel like.
One of them.
For like,
That was with the CW network.
yeah.
Now that trip to New York, did John tell you about him and the lights?
No, because
Okay, I got this great story. Okay.
I heard about the gallery owner getting pulled across the desk.
No, that was that night. That was the whole night. That was,
He probably missed some parts on that one.
yeah, but
Because that's a boy. Okay, so we go to New York another time. Like with the gallery guy, he was like, "You'll never work in New York again." And we're like, "We don't give a fuck. You just signed this contract, right?" So I'll tell my version of that story. You can mash it up with John's version.
Yeah,
You'll
yeah.
see where it's real or where it's fake,
it's
right?
close.
So
It's all real.
So we go back to New York, and we got airplane tickets. We got per diem.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be there for a week or so.
Hotel.
Right by Empire State Building, and we're hooked up. And
Yeah.
we're doing this stuff for the CW network, whoever, and America's Top Models. And so, boom, we're gonna go. We're going to New York. We're gonna do it again. Like, this guy can't keep us out of New York, blah, blah. Screw him. So we're running around New York. We're doing the thing. Like, we get to the hotel. Someone meets us there. They give us our $75 for the day. Boom, boom, $75. I think they'd already paid our first half for the big painting.
And we were all like, let's eat pizza and save that.
Yeah,
We can make
we're
money
gonna
off
be
the per
super
diem.
cheap. We're gonna save the per diem, be super cheap, blah blah blah. So we go up to the hotel, we're hanging out, blah blah blah, and John's like, "Man, I think I'm gonna walk to Times Square."
No. It was early ass in the morning. And I was like, wake you up.
Yeah,
I was like,
waking
I'm
me
going.
up. I'm not going. I'm like, John, I'm not going. He's like, okay, I'm gonna go to Times Square and take some pictures. I said,
Yeah.
okay. I was like, John, all you gotta do, just remember, walk up and boom. I think it's a left. If it's not a left, just look on the right. You'll see it. You'll see all the lights. It'll be on. It's okay. Boom. Right. So boom. John leaves.
Damn, should I have gone with John?
I shouldn't have let John go. By the way.
Yeah, maybe it was that. Maybe it was that.
Somebody's gonna babysit.
Yes, poor boy.
Well, no, it's just like John's my homie.
I get lost.
this is
I
what
get
I know.
lost.
John gets lost. Like
Get
this
lost.
is my guy. I know. Like God, like maybe I shouldn't have.
Let him loose.
Like I let him loose in New York. You know what I mean? Like oh God, something happens to him. It's like so I'm getting up to get my stuff on because I'm gonna walk up the block and meet John. As soon as I get it together, here comes John. Boom, come back in the hotel. I was like, hey man, you went to Times Square all that quick? He goes, yeah, I walked up there and they didn't have the lights on. They didn't have the lights on it. I was like, John, it's Times Square. I was like, they always have the lights on. He's like, nah, the lights weren't on. He's like, in some kind of way, I managed to spend $20 or $30 along the way. So we went on this big search.
No.
Should we start from the top?
From the drive there, it was weird. For me, I got off the airport. We walked down this little aisle. Someone yells, Michi! And I was like, what?
Yeah, we're in New
We
York.
just went to another planet and someone knows Michi.
It
We went to
happened.
like a neck face exhibit that wasn't neck face, and there was the girl that was naked. Were you like what happened that whole trip? It's a very strange trip. You were a rapper for a
Yeah.
fucking second?
Yeah.
We're going into
East Village Radio.
yeah, but what was it called?
Ballers Eve.
Yes, Baller's Eve.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were like, then all of a sudden you're a rapper.
Yeah.
And then they talked to me. I'm like, I'm here. You know, like, so you were a rapper for a second. Then we went up like 9 stories. So like, oh, that's where the Blue Band group lives. And we were up on some fucking balcony.
That was with Rich Jacobs.
Yeah. Was it Rick?
Yeah.
What? Yeah. So,
That was a Rich Jacobs.
yeah.
They had a Rich Jacobs
Yeah.
mural on the thing, and that was
Yeah, because Rich Jacobs influenced Tindel Michi like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Because we had a random show with them, and then the whole getting house paints from Home Depot on the mess up paints, what it did is it locked you in to the trends of the day unknowingly. It
Yeah,
would
the
lock you
colors.
into the colors that were popular, just not quite right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was using these cheap paints and these color combos were fucking like brilliant. Little
Yeah.
like, what the fuck? Like gray and burgundy rust? Like that fucking
Blues
works.
Yeah. No, after seeing Rich, our color palette is good.
Yeah. And see, I was always like, it's Martha Stewart on acid is how I described it. It's the trends of the day.
On either side of that color, there's another color that would match someone's wall. I remember when y'all painted y'all's house in Brookhaven, and you had that blue-gray,
Dark blue?
that dark
Oh no,
blue.
no, that color was everywhere.
That
everywhere.
color is a good color.
It's like a powder dark blue or something, yeah.
Yeah. What are we supposed to be talking about?
So tell me about all the collaborative work. I mean, obviously y'all are a collaboration, but the Sunday Southern Art Revival, why was there so much like collaboration happening on individual pieces and on projects as opposed to like each of you working in a vacuum?
All right. So I'll tell the origin
you-
story.
You tell, and then yeah.
So let's, we'll go back. So how do I? It's like
Bluebell homemade ice cream. That's what I
tastes
feel like.
the
Okay, now
good
we're back in
old
time.
days.
Okay.
So we were painting at this place, 22 Tango, right? And then I think one year they got a tent.
Dogwood.
And it was a tent. They were taking all the artists to the Dogwood Festival, and at that time, this was like a big thing for us. It was like, oh man, you're starting out. You're like, this is gonna be good. We're gonna go and we're gonna sell a bunch of stuff, and we'll have rent money or drinking money or whatever.
Yeah,
it
you
was.
always were like, maybe I'll sell.
Maybe I'll sell something.
Yeah, you had your tears.
Yeah. So we go, boom. They got the big tent. We're there. We're set up. We're painting. We got our stuff to sell to the people as they go to the festival. And then it just became like a thunderstorm.
Yeah.
Full on rain, pouring. And we still got the tent. We're under the tent. We're in the tent. And for some reason, John and I just started like handing this canvas back and forth. We're just a waste of time. We're painting it, handing it back and forth. And at that time, I was cutting a lot of stuff out of what is that? The creative loafing.
Yeah.
It was
almost
all
collage-y.
Yeah, it was like collage, and John was painting and drawing all over the collage and stuff. And I was looking for witty stuff to put in the thing, like looking at the sex ads and like, because they had sex ads in papers.
They still do creative loafing.
Do they?
Oh, they do?
Yeah. So we were doing all that stuff, and then I found this one image, and it was it's Scarlett O'Hara. And so, I put that down, and then right beside that, I found this thing, and it said Faithful Hooch. It was like a liquor thing, and it was like Faithful Hooch. And so I glued that down, and, boom.
And I thought that was fucking hilarious.
It was super hilarious.
It was super hilarious. Like, it was moves.
Chess, checkers, any game, whatever competition, back and forth, sport, whatever, to chop the next person down or cut the next person off or outdo the next person. That was.
And I would say the Faithful Hooch was that move.
Yeah,
that said, oh, this is probably done. But then all of a sudden, something you're not intending to even grow or create becomes a finished piece of work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, it's just out of boredom.
That's a finished piece of work.
It's just a thunderstorm and two guys or a bunch of people, but us two mainly going back and forth on this thing. And then that Faithful Hooch, like Scarlett O'Hara, the South, whiskey, Faithful Hooch, like it's got that double meaning.
It's like, how did you find that?
Yeah,
how is that
we Tindel Michi instantly nailed it. Like the very first one, we instantly nailed. Like I think that one painting sort of set up what became 10 years of Tindel Michi. You know what I mean?
So, it had just enough like wit.
Yeah.
Southern thing you're saying, that Chattahoochee, hooch.
It was,
it was all
perfect.
this stuff, yeah.
I think that one painting, like without us even talking about it, knowing about what we were doing or thinking about it, it set up all the other jokes and smart aleck comments and commentary and stuff that we wrote on paintings, like that first painting, like I think it.
Yeah, more solid than we even knew who the fuck we were.
And this guy is just some guy from Florida. I'm John Tindel. I got my big dog Cooper. You know what I mean? Flip flops.
He'll eat your child.
Yeah, I'm flip flops, and Cooper will kill you. And I thought Cooper was gonna kill me first time I met him, but then he got nice. Psycho. And then it's like, oh, Coop. And then I still got that awesome picture of under the tree.
Do you have the one with you in the bear?
In the bear suit, yeah.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Because I think I have one of us just holding Cooper, like looking all badass.
Yeah.
But I don't have one of the bear suit.
Yeah, I got it.
I'm not getting in that. I was too scared. And you I'll get in it.
Yeah, I got that one. But I think that painting set up what became Tindel Michi, the duels, the chicken, the quails, the whiskey.
Yeah, the painting knew way more than we did.
Yeah, whatever the universe did that day with the rain and the tent and the dogwood, and it was just kind of perfect. Like, here's these two guys, complete opposites, but some kind of way we're just like in sync, like not like a boy band, a little tougher. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just set it up perfect.
I think it was after that. I was like, I had that little townhouse.
Yeah, he was like,
come up to my townhouse. You came up. We fucking blew out like 7 4x4 paintings in like a day. Yeah. Like, it was like legit, like, it wasn't even a day. It was like an afternoon. Yeah. And they were like, heaven and hell, all that, like, fucking gas mask when you showed me the other day. Like, all this weird paintings. And then it's like, it was so easy to work off all the stuff that was going on.
And it was all built off like what we're doing now. Just
Well, yeah,
Somebody
and
start a
I like
move.
thrived off to think that like black and white people don't get along in the South, and we were like, bullshit, we get along better than y'all do. Like there was a
Yeah.
weird like proving you wrong about the South. Everything like
Yeah.
you know, if they make fun of Southern accent, you get a little offended. Like it was like a little like, yeah, I felt grateful. Like, oh, I fucking ended up in the South. This place is fucking magical.
Yeah,
like
and
it is magical.
Doing the work for Project Alabama and seeing how
Yeah.
Natalie Channing, she was making all this high-end fashion stuff in little tiny Florence, Alabama.
That inspired me a lot.
But going up to New York to be like, hey, I'm from the South. I got all this cool stuff made by these quilting ladies. And she was killing it. I mean, like, killing it. So we looked at that and was like, well, she didn't go to New York. So
She was in a barn, like all the stuff about it. I was like,
she was in her house.
yeah.
She had a barn outfitted, you know, like her basement. She
Old
built
World War II ladies doing all the quilting. So
all the
it's
quilting
superb.
stuff. And then all that stuff would go up to New York. All that fashion would go up to New York Fashion Week, traveling all overseas. And I mean, she was big. Like, Natalie's an amazing
She
designer.
invented a style of that type of T-shirt. She invented that shit.
Yeah.
Where the letters are cut out and sewn back on, like
and then
applique. She
reverse,
like
and with all the
fucking-
stitching showing.
Dude,
Like,
she
nobody was
invented
doing
that. Yeah.
And so we looked at her and what she was doing, and we were like, well, we don't have to go to New York. If Natalie can do it, we don't have to go.
In Alabama, which even seemed more far-fetched than Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like, you're
And
doing
so-
it in Alabama? Holy fuck.
So
So,
there was always like an element of like a southern kind of.
No, like, you like it here, why do we have to move?
why do we have to go to New York? to
Like,
be
can't we
successful?
not stay here because we like it?
Because we
and
got
do
space. We got
Trees and shit.
trees and, like, you know, like John had a townhouse. Like that in New York would be like $1 million.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, or like my studio, like that first studio I had, which was, you know, it's like $300. But then that one I had at the mattress factory was huge. It was pretty
Yeah,
big.
yeah.
And it was only like $500. And it was like, and like when my friends from New York would come down, they'd be like, man, what do you pay for this? You must be rich. I was like, no, it's like $500. That's crazy. That's expensive.
Yeah,
And they were like, no, that's cheap. And it's like,
which adds to another reason, why can't we do it down here?
so
You know what
why
I mean? Like,
can't
why do we have to
we-
go waste all our money and life and everything to like,
Yeah. Like, even thinking about Andre 3000, right? Like, the South's got something to say. We sort of had that kind of chip on our shoulder, too. Like, we could do it all from right here. We don't need to-
100%. That's
we
where-
don't need to go to New York. We don't need to go to LA. We don't need to go to... We only ended up in Miami and doing all that stuff because we were good at what we were doing here. Like, that's how we ended up in a lot of these positions, because we were just good at being two fat Southern boys
yeah, it was a pretty easy order.
who paint.
Well, now that I think about it, like we gave our mission statement and we fulfilled it 100% because all we said was we were two fat
just two
Southern
fat
boys to
Southern
paint.
boys who paint. That's it.
And I mean, probably the joy was just people reading that statement for me. Yeah.
Like
But
if-
those
if
New York
people
guys
say-
were like, why aren't you in fucking overalls?
Yeah, those dudes
I thought
like
you were fatter.
They thought
Like,
we were supposed to be these big fat dudes.
They thought we were
right?
gonna come up super fat, overalls, sit there in the middle of the thing and make fried chicken.
and
for
fried
everyone.
chicken. Like,
For
that's
everyone.
what you thought.
Like we were coming up to make fried
Like,
chicken.
people in that neighborhood in Brooklyn were like, oh, you're those guys from Atlanta. You're those guys coming up from the South. When are y'all frying your chicken? We're like, we ain't frying no chicken. We got a pocket full of money. We're going to buy some chicken.
Yeah.
Like, like, we ain't frying nothing. Like, so it was that kind of chip on our shoulder. Like, we didn't know. Like, fuck off. Like, no, we're not.
You know, like it was just so different.
Yeah,
And
New York was
when the collectors come by, you need to give them 20%. I was like, what do they fucking look like? How do you know they're a collector? You just give everyone, like,
yeah, we ain't
what are you
giving
talking
nobody
about?
20%.
They had
Like,
a
what are you
collector
talking about?
class and they had a this class. And,
Yeah,
you know, it was
early
like,
discounts and blah. I was like, no, this is about making money. We ain't giving away money.
we're losing money going up to New York. I mean, we didn't have shit. We bartered the tickets for paintings. We did
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
We
still owe that
shipped
guy
the.
a
We
painting.
should. Well, we should give him like a new one. Like give him a new one.
I still owe Robert. a
Like
painting. Thanks, Robert Kwan. He bought our plane tickets.
And I barely knew him, and I
think
met him,
yeah,
and he
Robert.
said he was the one who did, and I was like, oh my God, you're like the nicest dude. Like, who would do that? Who
Yeah.
would do that for a bunch of Atlanta artists trying to go?
That's Atlanta, though.
Yeah, he 100% needs like a,
Yeah, I still owe Robert a painting.
yeah. If you still owe him from that, then yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I owe
yeah.
him a painting.
Yeah, he needs to give
It's worth it now.
yeah. Now I get like a expensive.
Now it's like, man, I only spent like $300
right.
on that. Now I gotta.
No, but that was crazy because like everyone took different parts of the planning, so I don't know how we fucking got tickets. You know what I mean? From my
Robert.
side, I don't know how we got tickets. And then I knew it was this guy, but then like, how do you get our name? You know, like just all the
Brady.
functions of going into stuff. Like,
I think Brady and Karen West, and it was because Luis was supposed to go up and help us get the PVR,
and then he couldn't, and then we had to.
it
Like
was
so much shit. Yeah, it was.
we
it was-
pulled off a whole thing, man. Getting kegs out of Jersey or somewhere.
Oh yeah.
It was a lot of work, but whatever, we did it. So
Yeah.
the Faithful Hooch she set it up, and then from there, I remember, what show did we do?
Did we do a show? I feel like we just
Because we
painted
went and
live
painted
all
on the
time.
beach. And remember, we painted those.
In Miami, maybe.
We painted the one with the cow on it, and it had the seaweed going through it.
Are you talking about like at the bar and we painted like the chair, the classic one at that
Classic
bar?
was,
and,
yeah, classic.
oh, on the
chair.
beach, and it was like windy as shit, and it was
Yeah.
hard to. Yeah, did we actually paint something out there?
Yeah, 2 balloons we did, 2 balloons.
You know what sucks is that whole hard drive of that whole part of my life, like Florida and everything that happened.
Yeah.
Like I can't get on it. Like it's fucked up. Like you know where the hard drive fucks up.
To some nerd.
Oh, there's like videos. We were in the garage making stupid videos. Like it's.
Take it to a nerd.
Yeah, maybe the nerds are cheaper now. That's what.
Or maybe, yeah.
Before it was like, what? How much to get that out? But yeah.
Yeah, I bet you could do it. I don't know. There's what else should we talk about? What other
who
questions
else?
you got?
Like, so who else were y'all running with?
What do you mean?
Like, who else? Like, was it George Long or like who?
Oh, you're talking about the collaborations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably early on, I don't know who you were running with, and I wasn't running with anyone, so I was probably running with you during the first part because we were just doing Tindel Michi.
Yeah, we were just doing Tindel Michi, whatever we could with that. We would go
You
to
had a
Apache.
lot, yeah, and you had stuff going on. You know what I mean? Like, so it would be like, yeah, whoever had a.
I think we met George though at
That was a while later. I feel like.
Agnes Scott.
Yeah, because they were like, you got to meet this guy George. He's got this land and
Yeah,
it was like a different.
George Long. You got to
Yeah.
meet this guy George, and we were like, who the fuck's George?
Yeah,
And then he had those mason jars, those giant.
I fucking love those. I
Yeah.
still think about those all the time. I love
Yeah.
those things.
So George had made like these giant mason jars out of wood.
Like just 2x4s nailed together and then carved like a mason. Huge.
Huge.
Like huge. As tall as the ceiling. Like
8 foot.
but just beat together wood, but then carved like it. I fucking love
Carved out
them.
with
I think
the
about them all the
chainsaw
time.
or something. Like
Yeah.
they were beautiful. He'd set one of these up. And so we met George. And George was kind of like us at the time. We were all just, wiry all over the place, rock and roll, whiskey, Southern boys. Like, that's what we did. And George was like, come out to our house. You'll love it, blah, blah, blah. He told us this great story of how he got the house and the land. It's a beautiful house. Like,
Yeah,
it's
fucking.
it's like a farmhouse, and then you go down, and then there was like
river,
a wood shop.
fucking welding shop.
In the city? No.
Oh, in like where?
What is
in
it?
like the Roswell.
Alpharetta, Roswell.
Roswell.
But when
that's
you go
fancy.
down onto his property, it's like
you're in a lake, like
nowhere. You're nowhere. It's amazing. And
Yeah.
the house follows the river. Apparently it was his ancestors, like there was a main house, and then the other families had a house, and they just built these
But
houses.
they're like squatted
yeah.
and got this land. Like
And there's all these little houses going down this river that are connected.
it's fucking pretty dope.
It's badass.
Yeah.
But But he was like, come out to our house and blah, 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 and we'll do this thing. And I remember going out there and having like, we got all our paintbrushes, we got our Rich Jacobs colors, got our Oops paints and all this stuff. And George and, was it Mario,
Jesse, and
Jesse and that
Scott guy. There was
Pethia,
like, yeah.
whatever Scott's name was. And they were like, yeah, we just fixed this tennis ball launcher. We're going to do some painting today. And we're like, what? We got all our brushes and paints and shit. So we're drinking beers and whiskeys, hanging out. And we're just loading tennis balls in a tennis ball launcher, shooting it at paper. And we're just laughing, having a good time. Like, we didn't know we were painting. Like,
yeah, to me, they were like the crazies of art.
Yeah, they were.
To me, they were like, I felt very plain old painter once I met George and them. I'm like, oh, they're like the eclectic boys of painting. Yeah,
they were really out there.
Yeah,
like the one that they were out there. They'd gone to art school and like they thought about painting different ways and
just a lot of processes they had locked down on their own that were like, oh, what is that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so with George, we got turned on to a lot of stuff, a lot of way to make painting. But that first time we went out to George's painting, we literally were loading paint in a tennis ball launcher and just like, okay, let's do this color. It's boom, and just shooting it at paper. Not like, okay, when we left, we were like, I think we did something. Like, I don't know.
That's how I left there every time. I was like, I think we did something.
I think we did something.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, at that time I was high as a Georgia pine, like, so whatever, we did something. And then what he would do was he would take all that splattered up paper and cut it up and split it up, and then he would call us back out and be like, hey man, we're gonna work, y'all should come out and work. And we would and then all that paper that was busted up that we hit with the tennis balls or whatever would be all split up into nice sheets of paper, and then we'd start
treat them like a painting.
Yeah. And then we started working on them, and then like, oh, here's a pile, you work on a pile, and like, oh, John's got a pile. It's like, oh, that's good. It's like, oh, John did a thing, I'll just go scribble over John's, and like, oh, George is printing dried squid
leaves or something. Squid, right?
Like,
we walk on George and them's forest, and you'd be like, "Oh shit, these motherfuckers are like
magic."
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, they got they like exploring everything.
They got everything.
Yeah, we're sitting here with like paints.
We got paint.
That's it.
We got brushes,
and they're like
I
sitting
can
here
work
with like
a spray can,
dried squid and fucking print presses,
and
really squid.
Yeah. Because he could emboss it on paper.
He would emboss.
So you'd have an embossed squid on your paper. So you'd have this beautiful piece of white paper with an embossed squid on it. Yeah. Like it's gorgeous once you do it.
Like,
you know?
George Long and that crew and that posse, they sort of like, oh shit, we can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
And then they were like, they liked funny Southern jokes.
Yeah.
And George, like, he fucked around with doilies a lot, which we were doing a lot. And Mario is like, he's another dude who's got a hand as big as mine too.
Meat hands.
Yeah. So there's a picture of me and Mario's hands where we just traced each other's hands. They're pretty much the same size, but then him and then Jesse. Jesse was kind of quiet, but
yeah, Jesse was quiet.
It was like a different kind of killer for them, you know, like he was like a precise kind of killer for them.
Yeah, that was a unique combo.
And that guy Scott was just fucking weird.
Scott was an oddball. Like, I feel like he was from like Connecticut or, you know, like he'd do like dead deers with like neon lights.
None of blues.
Yeah, he like erasure when we were like an Iron Maiden, you know, like
yeah. And not that's a bad combo. It's just
no, just different paths.
Just different, you know, tastes and sounds and shit. But then I think one night we were all just drunk. It was like, hey, you want to have a show? And every Sunday we was always getting up.
Well, that was like I remember talking about Southern Art Revival.
You're talking about church revival.
Yeah, then the George thing came and it was like Sunday, so it just fit perfect.
Big Sunday dinner.
Yeah,
Some days we would launch tennis balls or be like, well, I got barbecue on my plate. And you just wipe it on the paper and be like, okay, I did a thing.
It's so free, it made me uncomfortable. Like it was, you know what I'm saying? Like it was so free, I was like, I didn't know you could do that. They were just like, just like anarchist almost in the art.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna try everything and see what happens with it.
Do you feel like they were still very Atlanta? Like when you think about like Atlanta art, like are they part of that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, they were probably doing exactly what we were doing. They were just doing it in their way. Like
See, they had gone to like ACA, like right, like so. I've come to find out like all the kids who went to Atlanta College of Art, it at that time I think it was like this magical place, like where
like that generation of stuff.
yeah, because all those artists who came out of there, they're just all badass, like all of them, every single one of them. Like you can name somebody and they'll be like, oh yeah, they went to ACA. And they all have a different way of thinking about their process and making work and all this stuff. And you know, we're two guys that just we're making it up on the fly. They're awesome. They're awesome. But I think like collaboration, I think it's just natural for Atlanta artists to just like, oh, you do a thing, oh, I do a thing, let's do a thing, you do a thing.
This collaborative thing where you're making this fucking crazy V8 with pink foam and beer cans. Like it.
And barbecue sauce fountain.
Yeah. Two-ass cow.
Yeah, a two-headed cow and two-assed cow.
Yeah, cow with just two asses. It's just two asses. Like, that's fucking great. That's fucking hilarious. See, yeah, that's almost like, yeah, I'm getting George in here because I just want to see what he fucking says.
Yeah, George would be a good one.
Yeah, because like...
Well, we would always get, well, how do y'all do it? Like, how do y'all do it? He stands there, I stand there. He paints or
we didn't realize, though, that collaborating is a hard thing. I didn't realize it is.
Yeah, I mean, we just didn't have the ego, like, to be like, don't paint over my stuff. Like, that was the point. I think artists should paint in a collaboration, right? So you can get rid of your fucking ego, right? Because nothing does become precious. I remember that one painting with bird in two hands, a bird in a bush, a bird in two hands. With the skull, it was blue.
Three?
Yeah, the three, and the skull had the hand.
Yeah, because...
There was one, like I left it at John's house. I was like, John, specific instructions. Do not paint over this part right here. Like
I think you even said, and don't use pink.
Yeah, like whatever you do, don't paint over this little part. I'm saving that part. I got this thing I'm gonna do when I come back, like the next day or whatever, right? And like, don't use this color because like if you use that, it's gonna throw the whole thing off. But let me finish this part, and boom. Like so, it'll be rules like that. But then you come back and John's just boom right over it with pink. But then you look at it and be like, man, I told you not to do that, but you did it. But yeah, that's kind of cool, you know, like, so your ego is just, like there's no, because your ego's getting destroyed on the fly. Like John could spend all day hand cutting, hand cutting, and it'd be a beautiful pattern. Here I come with a wide brush, just boom, right over the center of it.
To me, that's what I love, is the little left of what got left in the layer, really.
This big conversation of two guys, I think, trying to figure it the fuck out.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, trying to figure it the fuck out. Like,
virgins to their own styles.
Well, still growing our own styles, but then, like, Tindel Michi had its own thing. It looked like it was its own.
It looked like one person did it, but it was its own thing.
Either you like it or you don't. You laugh at it or you just like, I don't know about that. And then you just like, I don't know, John, I don't know. Or, I don't know, Michi. No, don't big brush it. Because that was my thing. I wanted to just smash it out.
He was Mr.
Like
Big
John,
Brush.
I was like, oh man, he's spending all that time on that.
But then you'd sit there and go, damn, I need some kind of big brush. Yeah, you didn't have to say anything because you would paint over it. That would be all you had to say. You know what I mean? Like, John, I'd like to talk to you in the corner.
Like,
You know what I'm saying? I have something I'd like to discuss with you. It'd just be like a big fucking gray area across the
Or you would come back to the painting and it'd change. It'd like, that's not how you left it. Like, if you leave it at John's house, it's definitely getting gone over.
Which for me, that's fucking great. I wish I could paint and then I could go to sleep and then when I wake up, someone else painted on that so I could react to it. Because I got to react to my fucking shit that I'm tired of looking at. So it is like...
Yeah, I'll come over here.
You like, you go to sleep.
Like, what the fuck now?
Yeah. So it's
almost like he's trying to solve a puzzle in his head. I don't know what that puzzle is. I'm trying to solve a puzzle in my head. He don't know what that puzzle is. And then we're trying to solve a puzzle together. And the shit we're talking about ain't nothing about the puzzle. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
About either puzzle.
no, it's nothing. And some kind of way, these Georgia Pine brains, like at that time, it was just there's a beautiful painting at the end of it. Should we start from the top?